your sister, well, she's formidable. Do you think you could... Sorry, I shouldn't ask.
No. Ask away.
Back in my house, your mammy can't save you.
Okay, ladies and gents, I greet you fine folks back to another video. In today's schedule, we have the peak counter. This is just a small intro to the video I'm currently working on, so I hope you guys enjoy this total peak counter. But without further wait, let's get to counting. So we start off with a distressing call coming from one of the agents.
Hello, 911. What's the emergency?
Hello, I need help. I need officers to help me.
Okay, calm down, little buddy. Calm down. What's going on?
My mom's being attacked. I think he's gonna kill her. He's gonna kill her. Listen.
I live fast, but I'll die last.
That girl is so tough. But boy, oh boy, did he not recognize who was lurking in the shadows? Waiting on him menacingly, just standing there doing their best Batman impression. Then the person turned around and the agent dropped right on his head, wrapped their legs right around him, and then started choking Good Buddy out while he was over there flailing around. Good Buddy didn't stand a single chance. So then dispatch comes on the comms and was like,
Oh yeah, change of plans. They're in there beating on that boy. So I suggest we get a move on.
And back at the base, they had all this type of high-tech technology. And she let the agent know that this is a high-priority mission that cannot fail. So the agents start moving through the building, pulling out that 3D watch, flexing on everybody real quick. And they got a whole map of the area. They really out here playing BF6. So another NPC comes walking down the hallway. And the agent grabbed him up and choked him out, moving like me and Batman in our prime in Arkham City. So then the agents just sneaks behind this person. And right before they turn around, they get hit in the neck. And then they got their back broken and then gets dragged away, Assassin's Creed style. And look at the loot on the ground. This agent for sure had sneak on 99. Then look at this. The agent hopped down to land and with no sound being made. Then the person kept sneaking all the way until they got to an elevator. It opens up and the first dude gets whacked. The next dude's head gets smacked into the wall. Quick two-piece combo as he pulls out a weapon. Then the agent disarms him. Then he equips a knife, instantly gets packed up. The next dude gets his esophagus broken into. Then a quick twirl around and the other person gets bashed into the wall. Then he just gets turned back around and finish off the next dude. Then the elevator opens up. The next victim is standing there and instantly gets his head bashed in. The agent just leaves the elevator. Like, this is super cold right here. We gotta add that to the peak total. So then the agent starts sneaking through the building once again, and here's a whole bunch of people waiting in the next room over. They are speaking Lithuanian, but to me, it sounded like they were speaking Sims characters. So all the power goes out, and then you start hearing furniture moving left and right. So somebody turns on their flashlight. He's looking around scared. He looks over and sees a body on the ground already. And then all you see is one of his homies getting two-pieced up and put on the ground. And then the agent comes and he gets put on the ground too. We just see them boxing in the shadows. Right, left, counter, broken arm, kick to the face, and knocked down on the ground. Knocked clean out. And then the agent pulled out the 3D model once again and wiped the Kool-Aid off. Oh, that was so clean. Y'all remember the scene in Ghost of Tsushima when he did that little sword thing? The agent ends up finding these sets of steps. It starts going down them and even had that suppressor out just in case. So they hear the door open and step into the shadows. Then we see this dude coming out. You already know from the way he's walking and looking that this is going to be one of the main bad guys. But then we see that he's covered in a whole bunch of blood. He goes to reach for something in his jacket and the agent gets ready to shoot. But he just pulls out a phone and makes a phone call.
Yeah, it's done. Hey, hold up. Why do I smell? Never mind. Maybe it's my imagination.
So the agent walks in and sees something that got the agent startled. They even started taking 2 steps back. Then back at HQ, somebody started hacking into the mainland. So the agent takes off their mask and we see that it's actually a girl. Is that a melanin queen I see right there? So then we see a peek and it looks like one of her friends is messed up pretty bad. They done packed this man up during their torture. By the way, this lady's name is McKenna, Agent McKenna, but she ends up disconnecting herself from dispatch. Everything just starts going bad after this. HQ gets hacked into and then shut down. She's crying over this dude, so I'm guessing they got something going on more than what they want us to know right now. So she gets a pair of pliers and I'm like, hold on, what's she about to do with those pliers? She rubs his head, pulls it back, and I gotta blur this out, and then pulls out his tooth, and then she hears a whole bunch of people coming downstairs, and you know she wants some revenge. So one of the big guys goes over to see what was going on, and then he came back in frame with a knife in his head. Then she walks up to the next person, just looking at them right in the face, took his gun in the next arm and shot the other dude with 2 more bullets, broke the dude's arm and tossed him to the ground. He starts reaching for the walkie-talkie for help, and she just finishes the job off. That kickback was so quick, but she doesn't stop there. She goes into the room where they're watching football, posts up with 1, 2, 3, 4 dudes, and then swung. Look at this dude. He got knocked out. Then we just heard them scuffling in the back, and a whole bunch of Kool-Aid was spraying all over. So yeah, after that, she got a little bit injured, but she went through the whole entire house, packed up every single person in that building. So then she tried to connect back with dispatch, but they were hacked, so it was silent. So she grabs her jacket and leaves out and was running through the city of Brickletown. So she goes to one of the dispatch places that they could talk to each other, and they gave her the rundown that everything has been hacked, so she has to go into incognito mode and then meet them up at one of the safe areas. So the lady's like, can you hear some coordinates if I give it to you? And then she starts giving out the coordinates, and it was literally like 54 degrees, 12 minutes, 38 seconds north, and 22 degrees, 49 minutes. And McKenna was just like, Roger, Roger, and got right on the train and headed out. So that leads us into the main bad guy coming in and one of his partners in crime. They were seeing everybody packed up everywhere. So he made a call and said,
Put the GTA 5 stars on her.
and I don't know what was going on through her head, but she looked left, she looked right, and she said, smells like a nice spot to go. And she just jumped right off. Like, how did she even know when to jump off? It's literally a giant blizzard. And why is it just a random gas station here? She then breaks into a car and turns on her watch, even though they told her that they have been hacked. And then they acquired the signal, and look how many soldiers are already on the screen. 4 on the left, 3 on the right. And they are suited and booted and ready to get anybody off the map. And look how many of them are jumping off. They're about to parachute on top of her. So this brings us to our other main character, Sam Fisher. So McKenna runs into the garage. Sam sees the car outside and goes to it. McKenna was in a car laid out flat, and then he looked over and saw the night vision goggles, and just as fast as that happened, the army showed up too. They started scanning the area. They saw the car, and they have night vision goggles on. So they have a huge advantage. They're looking at the trails and everything and see the footsteps. So they head over towards it, and one mistake they always make doing this stuff is, why do they always split up? So 3 other soldiers go into the barnyard and they start scoping it out. So then the barnyard door busts open, and one of the soldiers come in and he's like,
Don't let that old man catch you.
so they go in and see 1, 2, 3, 4 soldiers, yeah, I see you in the back, all down on the ground. And all he sees is Sam taking out one of his soldiers. He let off a couple pop shots, and the man uses him as a shield and then runs off into the nighttime. So he goes chasing after him, and this man can't even find him with night vision goggles. Like, come on, I get there's snow out there and it's a blizzard, but you can't outclass by an old man with no night vision goggles and no gun. So one of his friendly soldiers comes in with him, and then they signal for them both to go into the house. So they came in like Rainbow Six Siege operators, looking both ways, having each other's back. And look at Sam just waiting around the corner, which is somebody will come through. So the one in the back gets automatically packed up, and then Sam comes in, punches, misses, and then gets headbutt, making him stumble back. So then he tries to hit him with the gun, but he blocks that and then weaves the next attack. Gets low, moves the other way, parries, ducks, then punches them in the face to hit him with another combo. Throws him into the wall and hits him. Then try to hit him with another one, but the NPC got low. He hits the wall. So the old man is right on top of him, giving him no space to move around. So he tries to do a 360 spin kick and did absolutely no damage. Then he tries to do an overhead throw, and that did absolutely no damage. Then he grabs Sam and then kicks him in the gut, and then finally did a little bit of damage. So Sam looks up like, oh, you done did it now, boy. Headbutts him, making him stumble all the way back into an overhead punch right in the face. Look at that man, eyes wide open. Then he punches him again and grabs his hands like, and then punches him again, and then does a reverse turnaround into an elbow. He pulls out a knife, so he starts going on offense, getting a cut in and then moving in. Sam dodges to the left, gets to the backside, and then breaks his wrist. Catches his blade mid-air, then it proceeds to use it on him, packing him right up. That was absolutely peak hands right there. So he lets out all the animals and sinks the car, burns all the books in the house, and then finally goes onto the phone that's been calling him for like the past 20 minutes in the episode, and then he hangs up on it once again. It doesn't go away. He actually picks up this time, and it's basically dispatch telling him that they got a dire situation, and that was why the agent came to him and are asking for help, and it's time for him to get his old self back into the business. So McKenna was passed out in the back of the car. Sam gets into the car with his dog named Kaiju, which is a dope name, by the way. And with that, that's the end of episode 1 for us. So now they have this man after them, and he burnt the whole place down. He doesn't want a single piece of evidence to be found. Now, there was another person on the phone with him telling him the shots and pulling the cords, and they are are even more evil than him. So they hop back in the plane and she still got the tracker on her. And I'm like, does he not see that? Does he not hear that? I don't know. Maybe he doesn't, maybe he does. We will just have to figure out and see. Now this lady right here is the daughter of the man that used to own this company. We're going to get to his name down the road, so don't worry. But they was really in this room cooking her, you know, the good old misogynistic stuff, talking about, you know, you a girl, you can't be in here doing what your daddy did. Go ahead, give up the business, give it to us, blah 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 blah. So then her brother pulls up and his name is Charlie, but I don't know if I said her name, but her name is Diana. So Charlie comes in, sits beside everybody, and then he drops a truth bomb on them. He literally tells them that him and his sister owns majority of the profit shares on the property and that they're all fired. So yeah, about that tracker, they know exactly where they're at on the map and they're chasing right after them. So later that night, Sam ends up pulling up to a secret garage with a code inside of it. They got a whole bunker down there. I mean, this is so sick. This is a dope underground layer. Later that night, they have pulled up to where Sam and McKenna were a couple hours ago. And he had tricked them and put the tracker on one of the scarecrows. So now they're pissed off. They started searching every single camera in the area, but peep Sam's secret bunker. He got every single arsenal inside of there, and he's ready for any and everything. The man even knows how to make a fake passport from scratch. And out of all the weapons, he chooses to go stealthy. So we all know where this is about to go. So he looked over to his night vision goggles. He had to close his eyes because he's like, I can't stun on them that hard yet. So while McKenna is still passed out, he puts the gun right next to her just in case something bad pops off. So Sam heads to the grocery store and they got him on a tracker and pinpoints his location. This man is just so smart, so elegant, so peak. He's looking at the timer to count down exactly when they would show up. So they all pulled up super deep. I'm estimating about 15 people probably. They started spreading out, going around and surrounding the area, and they even started pulling their whips out and going around too. So the main hitman walks into the building, pulls out a gun, and looks over to the lady, tell her make sure she doesn't say anything. And then he sneaks up on him, grabs him, points his weapon at him, and it's obviously not him. Sam once again cooked them with the tracker decoy. And now I'm thinking like, maybe these bad guys aren't the smartest bad guys, because how are you getting cooked by the same move twice? And I swear if I see this for the third time, y'all are really horrible villains. So he hears commotion coming from the kitchen, and it's already two of his other henchmen down on the ground. So he goes and runs after Sam and ends up linking with his other people. And then the van pulls up and she's like, he's over there. Over there? What do you mean over there? You're in the van. How about you go zoom over there and actually go catch up to the old man? There's no way you're all slower than this man. So they end up all following him into the building. You can tell he's a newbie on the job because he ain't got no trigger discipline, as one of the birds made him shoot, and they was all looking at him like, hey man, go ahead and put your 3 days in, bruh. Not even 2 weeks. You gotta go. So they hear something coming from one of these little convention booths, and he's in there calling the cops on them. So you know what they did? He hanged up the phone and then yeah, GG's to him. Then one of the bells started ringing like it was Elden Ring or something, and then one of the other homies was packed up by this man. Sam is moving like prime James Bond. So they started panicking and getting mad, and they see another person in the distance getting packed up. He is packing everybody up left and right. Another one packed up. So the girl had a bright idea, and I don't even know how she knew to come up here, and I swear she was just in the van. She goes up on a window, sets up a sniper, and as they were sweeping the next building over, Sam was hiding behind here. But look what happened. Look how far away Sam is from this door, and then look how many steps this man takes away from the door. And we don't hear any footsteps at all, and then he comes out from the left. How did he do that? How did he even move that quick? And then he started strangling bro out, then he got hit in the gut, and then smashed into the window, and now they can see them. So the sniper looks over there and sees them fighting, and I'm like, she ain't gonna shoot nobody with somebody right there. But Sam gets headbutted, parries the first block that was coming, and then the second one, then the third one, and then looked him dead in the eyes, and then tried to get a swing off, but dude got low and spun around, and then Sam got low too. Tackled and slammed into the wall with one hand, saw the sniper shot, and then put his head in the way, and the dude head exploded like a watermelon. But Sam's taking cover, and this is the worst feeling in the game where you're being pinned down by a sniper shot, and you can't go anywhere. He has no smokes or anything. But Sam ends up sliding out of there, but the other boss man was right on his tail and started shooting bullets. And look how Sam is posted up on the ground shooting too. So Sam knew he was in in a bad position. Posed for the camera real quick and shot his gun back. They was moving like this scene right here. So another person comes up with a knife and disarms Sam. She starts swinging, but that didn't last too long, and she pulls out a second knife and ends up stabbing him. Then she tried to go for his eye, but he dodges to the right. He's like, oh, you want to get physical? All right, little girl, let me teach you something. But she uses his strength against him and spins around and stabs him in the back. And he had enough of that. He makes her stab her own self with the knife. But I'm not going to lie, she did put up a good little squabble. So the main henchman is already on him, and I guess he ran out of bullets, so he goes to have a hand-to-hand combat. He charges him, and Sam gets ready, and they both bust out the window and started falling to the ground below, and then right on top of a car. Both are severely injured from it, but they get right up and post up again. He goes in, and Sam blocks. He gets low and blocks another blow. He tried to grab Sam, but Sam presses circle and tries to get him off of him, but that didn't matter because obviously grab counters do not work on him. So he headbutts Sam right in the face, and Sam tries to get back and swing, but that did not work, and he misses and gets punched into the gut. And then he tries to swing again and gets kicked right into the gut again. Sam grabs his arm, twists it, chopped his neck, and then here comes the sniper trying to third party. Sam sweeps his feet from under him and punches him, but he grabs Sam and uses his momentum, and they start falling off into the ground below. Now the sniper doesn't have a shot on them, so he slams Sam into the wall, slamming him on the ground and trying to choke him out, and it's looking bad for Sam. He pulls out a knife and still gets it off. Yeah, Unc is getting cooked, so he pushes his thumb into his eye and gets a bit of spare time. He uses a knife and then finishes him off. So yeah, he was packed up. Sam then continues back to his home, and McKenna pulls out a gun on him. He's like,
Hey, yo, what's up? You do know we're both agents and stuff, right?
she's like, oh yeah, you're American. Then she tells him that the reason why he's getting chased is because she has a key to some stuff that we will figure out later. But yeah, everybody in the country right now is trying to have her head. So they figured out where they were hiding and immediately sent soldiers after them. So they threw down the smoke screens now and came in like SEAL Team 6, only to figure out that they were already gone and on the move. Obviously, this lady right here, the main henchman, definitely meant something to her because she's acting like how McKenna was acting at the beginning of the episodes. So these two ladies end up meeting with a dude named Thunder. She had traveled all the way to Canada to meet him so he could come back and hack the systems and get them back online. So McKenna ends up telling Sam where the key to the tooth is, and it's in their old apartment at 404. And of course the bad guys are already there, flooding the whole place. So he has to go into Splinter cell mode. So she gave him very specific directions. She said, once you go to the left, it's going to be a narrow hallway. It's the last room on the right in the bedroom behind a drawer compartment. It should be a watch. But as he's crawling, dude ends up coming out and he smacks him in the neck and then smacks him again to make sure he doesn't say anything. So he tries to choke him out before he could say anything to anybody else or alert anybody. And the only reason they didn't hear them scuffling in the bathroom is because they was throwing everything on the ground as they were tussling in there. But for some reason, her spidey sensor started going off and she came in with a gun and she immediately started blasting at the shower. But the boy was in the closet and she got the jitters because she ends up shooting at one of her homies. Also, we now figure out that it was Diana this whole time that have been making the boss calls, and she's been running this whole entire operation. You know, trying to run a company with that dirty money type of stuff. So one of the bad guys actually ends up fighting the watch. That was the key to the tooth. And Sam pulled up on him and told him to hush as if that was going to work. Dude ends up pulling out a gun and he had to put him down. This alerted everyone, and then everybody ran into the room with their guns out, and they saw that the window was open and they saw a car going outside, so they all rushed outside towards him. But bro hit him with the smooth little reverse psychology as he was under the bed. Then he's like,
Getting sloppy, Fisher.
and I have to agree because Sam, why didn't you just choke him out like you did the other dude? So Thunder ends up hacking them back on the line again, and they end up joining the FaceTime call.
Well, if it isn't Clap Your Mom 32, isn't that your username? How does he know of that username? I haven't used that since the PS3 era.
So he immediately realizes that the enemy already knows where he is, and he sees them pulling up, so they had to dip out. So they started driving to the airport with the other cars following them closely behind, and them boys shifting gear like Need for Speed, hitting 180 on the dashboard, and they was behind them shooting while McKenna was in the backseat covering down. This is two crazed girls going at it in a 1v1 gunfight. So McKenna ends up locking in, shooting one of the dudes, and his weapon ricocheted around and ended up taking out the driver, and they crashed into the next car next to him. So the driver of that car ended up getting clapped. I don't know what happened with this bozo, but I mean, she survived the crash and he didn't. But she gets out the car, pulls out her sniper, and snipes out one of the wheels to the vehicle. So they're hiding behind the car, and one of the jets start taking off a little bit. And then McKenna looks over to him and says,
One left. Make it count.
Now, why would you use all the bullets and then give me the gun with one bullet left? So he does the old pull the mirror out trick, and she shoots it, and they start running towards the jet. So Sam stops right in front of the sniper. Now, mind you guys, they both could have been got into the plane. So I don't know if he was trying to distract her from shooting the pilot or what. But I'm pretty sure elite agents like this both know how to fly a jet. So she sees him through the scope. He shoots it and it grazes her air, and then he goes into the jet. So I really think Sam just wanted the R farm. So I guess we're gonna give him peak points for that. I mean, there was literally no reason that he didn't go straight to the jet. So if Diana had been taking all the meetings, doing everything she has been doing to be a good leader of the business, as her brother was nowhere to be found. And this is the thing, every single time they get mad at each other, they call each other half brother and half sister. And that little thing right there would tell you they're not fully committed to the relationship with each other. So then we get a flashback of Sam when he was working for the agency, and then we meet a man named Douglas that had purposely KIA'd this person they was interrogating because he had took out 4 of his men. But you know how the army is, you cannot do no insubordination. And Sam was ordered to come pick up the prisoner and immediately transfer them over. So Douglas is talking about, hey man, you gotta choose which side you're on. You're gonna have to choose your homies or you're gonna choose the government. Now keep Douglas in mind because he's important to the story later down the road. So Thunder starts talking about the key, and it grabs his cup of water, puts it in his mouth, slushes it around, spits it on the tube, and then the key comes out. Now I understand he started explaining it a little bit with scientific stuff, but this is absolutely disgusting. So the actual encrypted file is behind a waveform, and then they cut the camera over to McKenna over here doing push-ups. She out there trying to get so they ask her, does she know anything about the wave file? And I don't know why she just didn't automatically think about music, but obviously in anime fashion, it came to her later down the road, and she told them that the waveform is just the same song that they both love for each other. That's when they figure out that Diana's entire company is actually insanely in debt, and they are not a profitable company at all. And this is when we learn that Sam and Diana have a long history because of Douglas. Now, Douglas and Sam were actually amazing and close friends. They even called each other brothers basically. And Diana's dad is Douglas until they fell out with each other, which we would get into soon. So you know the crazy girl, and I don't even think they gave her a name throughout this whole anime, so we're gonna call her Crazy Girl. Well, let's call her Crazy Becky. Crazy Becky is on the ship pretending to be one of the employees or one of the new people, and we see her planning something, and she's obviously up to no good. So you know, one of the people comes in and they're like, what are you doing over here in the power room? And then she gets a screwdriver and packs them up. Now to get the full information they need to directly hack into Diana's phone. So they created a decoy phone and then went onto an operation called Dreamcatcher. We get another flashback of Douglas inside the courtroom, and they were charging him guilty on all crimes. They said, we don't care how long you've been serving America, you sir are immediately fired and discharged. And nighttime comes and you know the party has started. Well, let me not call it a party. It's really a to get together for like investors and everything. Now McKenna is posing as Grace, a journalist for Fame magazine, and after disappearing for a while, Diana's brother Charlie actually ends up coming to the party, and bro started flexing in front of the cameras.
Can you tell us more about how you became a millionaire? That was 10 seconds ago, baby.
Shake your dress.
Ladies.
And Sam was the driver, so he went to the parking area and did his job until he was needed. So you know Diana's assistant usually always has her phone with him. This time, he had forgotten the phone in the hotel room. So this changes up the plans, and Sam ends up trying to figure out a way to get to the room. So he ends up breaking one of the windows to the car, and they all flock towards it. And this is the type of stuff that happens in video games. I'm not falling for the distraction in real life. If I'm one of the henchmen and I hear somebody punch a window and I go over there and there's nobody near, I'm going to start scanning around immediately because I already know somebody's trying to Assassin's Creed me. So this made the man that was blocking the exit move around. He started heading up the steps into the elevator, but at the same time, the assistant gets into the elevator. So Thunder was like, hey man, walk out the elevator, go to the other elevator, and then they literally hacked into the elevator he was on and made him go on every single floor. So Sam ends up getting into the room and finding the phone, and he had it right out without having to shoot anybody. Now McKenna, this whole time, she was talking to Charlie, who at first came up to her, started trolling her, acting like he knew she was suspicious. So McKenna ends up interviewing Diana and Charlie, and the henchman from earlier is actually back and not dead at all, with a sick little eye patch. So now they done got the drop on Sam, and Diana sees them and decides she would get the job done. So McKenna loses her composure and puts the decoy phone back into the assistant's pocket real smooth, and she follows the man, taking things into her own hands once again. And yeah, that didn't end up good at all. She got caught lacking and captured, and Sam tried to go after them, speeding through traffic. He ended up losing her because it was a whole bunch of the same vehicles all mysteriously in the same place. So Diana is pissed off right now, and she also got her other assistant fired and got a new lady. I want you guys to really remember this point because you're going to realize exactly why the other man was so lucky and why I feel so horrible about this girl. McKenna ends up getting tortured, and he started rage baiting her and everything, even show her a picture of her boyfriend, and he even started putting hands and feet on her. So Charlie and his sister Diana end up getting on a phone call, and he's standing on the building, so you already know he's on some different type of timing. But they start having a conversation about the future of the company. He brought up their father, who may not be his father, but kind of is, you know, a stepfather. But they end up arguing about the future of the company, and this is when he turned on her. He said,
Half brother.
McKenna was still getting beat up and tortured, and he got this girl hanging up. And then he gets a burning rod and puts it on the side of her ribs and starts burning her. And then he takes a drag of his cigarette and uses her as a human ashtray. That is so disrespectful. So Sam pulls up to the building, and my guess is that this is the building that McKenna is locked up in. So he starts moving around, taking everybody out. Got this lady on the cam freaking out. I mean, don't you think you should have hit the emergency button when you saw the first 2 cameras go down? But yeah, that didn't work out, and she ended up getting held at gunpoint. And look at these dudes over there. Look at that, TikToks on their job. So the first dude gets laid out. They're like, what just happened? I can't see anything. They start shooting in the dark, and everybody started screaming and running. And look how Sam moving inside the dark, moving left to right and moving to the right, dodging bullets. Then he smokes this man point blank, jumps in the air and smokes the next man. Then the lady comes out looking in the dark, circling around doing that lean motion. And then she got another dude right here suppressing fire for her. He shoots and throws an item as a distraction, runs out, jumps and 2-taps these boys. Look at him in the air and look him on the ground out of breath. He needs to go ahead and retire. So a henchman busts out the door and looks at Sam. He's absolutely perplexed. He tries to pull his gun up, but the dude smacks it down and a shot goes off. He tries to go in and hits Sam right in the face, knocking his gun out. Sam gets low and slams him into the next wall, but the dude is a big one, looking like a 6'8" small forward weighing in around 260. He throws Sam into the wall, putting a whole crack through it. Sam's looking like, what is going on? He tries to wallop Sam again, but he blocks that. Defense game going crazy like Floyd. Hits a spinning elbow shot, got that boy facing the camera. He tried to come back with a kick, but Sam blocked that, going in for another parry. These boys are going to work. Slammed into the wall, grabbing him, kicked him again, then kicked him another time, punched him, and then hit him with a left. Then kicked him again. Sam sees a fire hydrant next to him. He knows it has some weight to it. So he gets thrown to the other side of the wall, still holding the fire hydrant. He sprays him with it, then smacks him with the fire hydrant. I know that had to do 100 crit damage. Then he hits him again, and that boy was knocked out cold from it. But he grabbed Sam's legs and tried to put him into a full Nelson, but Sam had to lock in and hit him with the reverse, slamming him into the ground, getting his arm and breaking it. But dude did not care about none of that. Grabbed him with the other arm, but Sam gets to the gun first and blasts him. And then the room he came in was not the room for McKenna. It was the room for Diana. Because McKenna, on the other hand, she was all good. She had unscrewed her chains, then came down and knocked his gun away. And look how she's standing over him. She's about to be up to devious activities. I already know. No socks, no shoes, bare hands tied up, just got tortured, there's a furnace here, and a dude on the ground. You already know what's going to happen. She picks up the gun, he picks up the hot rod, and immediately gets disarmed. Then the next arm gets shot off. She uses the hot rod to break out of the rope. He starts laughing crazily. She grabs the chain like Ghost Rider, spins around like she's in Wakanda, chokes him, and then throws his head into the fire, looking like a God of War 3 finisher combo. And then the most devious, craziest part about this, she sends a text directly to Crazy Becky and types, "You're next. Come and spin back for your boot." If that isn't code, I don't know what is. And this leads me into another thing. Why is she acting so crazy and so enraged? I'm pretty sure she knows he was alive. And if she didn't know he was alive, why would she not know he was alive? If you guys get what I'm saying. Like, they were literally partners in crime. It makes no sense to me. But hey, that's none of my business. So she sees the message, instantly gets mad, and takes out every single person alive on the boat. And then once again, we have a flashback of Douglas and Sam. And Sam and Douglas were both holding each other at gunpoint. But Douglas throws his gun down. But of course, he was trying to trick him and ended up pulling out another weapon, which forced Sam to take out Douglas. Which of course, Diana knew the truth about what happened, but she didn't see it as him actually killing him. She knew his actions were devious. She planned on continuing his legacy. So she just ends up walking out because obviously, Sam's not about to pack her up. So McKenna and Sam end up linking back up. up. And now this is the part where the boat becomes very important. Now this boat is actually a bomb. And the reason is because Diana wants to blow up the power plant that is helping the country run. And if it goes out and blows up, everybody will have to rely on her company and her energy in order to survive. So this means that all the homes, the surgery places, and the families would have collapsed. So they have to get on the boat in order to stop this from happening. So they suit up in full gear, and I'm not gonna lie, they're looking real clean. So they land aboard the ship and already see one of the dudes packed up on the ground.
She was moving like Prime Freddy. Get the heck out of here before it's too...
So Sam goes to the power unit because he has only 15 minutes until the ship blows up into the gas terminal. But he sees the whole thing has been tampered with, that's been booby-trapped. So now they have to hack into the boat and stop it like that. So McKenna ends up going to the main area, and crazy Becky pops up out of nowhere and starts blasting. So she ends up dropping a flash drive that can stop the boat. Crazy Becky is going dummy. So she finally runs out of ammo and throws her gun, and McKenna just starts blind firing. But she ends up getting disarmed in the cleanest way. She throws her gun up in the air, switches it around, and smacks her in the head with it, and then puts it into the other position, started punching her, and Crazy Becky ends up pulling out a knife, slicing down and cutting her wide open, kicking her into the back of the wall. So then McKenna pulls out a knife to even it up. They're about to go at it, circling around each other, getting ready to box. Dodge, another dodge, gets her leg sliced, then she goes down to one knee and almost gets her head taken off, but she grabs it and stabs right under her thigh. But Crazy Becky, this isn't one of her first rumbos. She kicks the other foot into the terminal and uses it as leverage to kick her in the face, and they both get knocked clean out. And McKenna had to have just playing around like what you do with your little brother, because she was moving so slow. But as soon as Crazy Becky attacked, she started moving fast, got the fire extinguisher and started blocking with it just to get cut across the face. Then she hits it out of her hand, takes her feet out from under her, and then tries to stomp her in the face. But Crazy Becky ends up trying to tackle her, but McKenna hit that defensive slide and stopped it, picked her up, and then slammed her down on her back. Crazy Becky kicks her away from her and gets a knife out again. But McKenna has had enough of that, slamming her head into the wall and then kicking it once again. Going through the glass, hitting her with the finisher, slamming her into the terminal 1, 2, 3 times, and then one more time for good measure.
Fatality.
Crazy Becky got up and was like, "Hey, I got a grenade for you. Have fun. We are both going to explode," and explodes the whole top of the terminal. But McKenna was good. Somehow she survived the grenade. I don't know. It just happened. But then somebody hacks into the ship, and then Diana gets a call, and it was her brother Charlie. He's on the other line like, "Yeah, I did something." So you remember the phone call earlier when he called her half brother? So he had hacked into the ship and redirected it towards her, who was on a cruise ship. But this is where it gets crazy. Diana was hosting an event, and all the high-ranking officials and government people and investors were on this ship. It was literally like Titanic 2.0 all over again. And surprisingly enough, obviously Charlie wasn't there. So yeah, they could do nothing to stop the ship at all. And that leads into why I said I felt bad for this girl right here, because the last assistant, good thing he got fired, because he would have been on the boat too. Diana sees it coming, and the whole entire boat exploded, and it was so powerful that it actually broke into the windows of the submarine ship, which absolutely makes no sense now that I'm thinking about it. But of course Sam figured out who it was, pulled up on Charlie, and got revenge for his goddaughter.